The battle by the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari to save his name and a battered career got a setback as the Federal High Court in Abuja dismissed an application filed by him seeking to strike out the drug trafficking charges against him. In his ruling, Justice Emeka Nwite dismissed the application filed by Abba Kyari because the court, he says, that's the judge said, the court has the exclusive right and jurisdiction to hear drug-related cases as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Of course, the court also said that this jurisdiction it has is also guaranteed under the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act. Kyari had told the court that the charges against him were premature, insisting that the NDLEA should have allowed the police to exhaust its internal machinery before initiating the action. And this is how we begin the program today. BK, what do you make of this latest twist in the Abba Kyari trial?
Well, there was something that I heard that is of tremendous interest to me, which is the claim that the charges preferred against him were premature and that the police internal mechanism for resolving such issues were not exhausted. Now, you and I know that that matter, after it was reported to the police continued to dilly-dally. They changed the head of the panel twice, and we didn't appear to be making any headway on the matter. The report of the panel appeared to even reluctant to indict him. That's how I can describe it, that the report of the panel headed by top police officer at that time from the East appeared to be reluctant to indict him. I don't know whether it was esprit de corps that was at work, but there was a reluctance on the part of the police to say, look, this is what happened. This person is culpable for this reason, for that reason. So I guess the NDLEA then became worried because the NDLEA asked for him to be surrendered to them. Again, the police began to foot drag about surrendering the suspects to them. It was at that point that the NDLEA went to town, because I understand that a request was formally made by the chairman of NDLEA directly to the IG, asking for the suspect to be released.
To them?
To them. Then the dilly-dallying continued, and I guess the NDLEA felt the way this thing was going, justice would not be served, and he could even walk free. So it was at that point that they then they called the press and released the video evidence that they had. And you know that with that video, they have what looked like a prima facie case against the suspect, at least to the extent that he made efforts to bribe the suspect, I think, to the tune of $1,061,400. You know, so they had them recorded, and at that point I lost all regard for Abba Kyari because I felt a policeman of his stature should have been more careful. But to have him recorded and incriminating himself in that manner, I really lost all regard for him. So don't forget that even some of his properties linked to him have now been forfeited to government. In court, he asked for evidence that those things belong to him. What I would say is, if you say they do not belong to you, that's even fine. So it goes to, it belongs. I mean, the ownership reversed to government immediately. So it's interesting. Let him face his criminal trial and all of these delays, trying to see whether they can argue that the court does not have jurisdiction. I think it should just end. Let the trial continue. Let's see where it leads us to. An example has to be made of top security operatives working in cahoots with criminals in our land. We have to make a solid example of someone, and I think this looks like a very good opportunity to send that clear message.
Right. Well, gentlemen, in the eyes of the law, despite the evidence that, have already somehow found its way to the, public sphere, in the eyes of the law, he has pleaded guilty. He has pleaded not guilty, and he remains innocent until proven otherwise. But with this back and forth now, the trial was on, and then he came up with this preliminary objection questioning the legality of the charges and jurisdiction of the court. And now the court says it has the exclusive jurisdiction, much against his arguments. Wale, what do you make of where we stand now?
Well, I think it was relying on the fact that the internal mechanism of the police was yet to be exhausted. The Nigeria Police Council and the Police Service Commission, ordinarily when a policeman commits an offense, these two organizations are expected to investigate the police officer and then come out with a report. But that does not in any way undermine the constitution of the country, that anybody who commits criminal offense, except those that enjoy immunity, state governors and the president of the country, if you commit any offense, whether you are even a military man, the Nigerian Constitution, under Section 251, has the right to try you for criminal offense. And the police cannot be a judge in its own case. And I think from precedents, a man of his status is unlikely to have been involved in so many things without the knowledge of some other people in the same establishment. I find it very difficult to believe that he acted alone. So the NDLEA, I think, is in order. If you look at some of the allegations that they found about 207 million naira in his different accounts, then 17,000 euro, and that he also failed to declare his assets. So good enough, the NDLEA in the past few months, or since Marwa came into that establishment, has proved itself, has improved the image of Nigeria in terms of diligence, prosecution, in terms of just like what EFCC is doing under Bauer, and some of the other predecessors. So irrespective of the dark cloud, there are institutions that improve the image of Nigeria. I think NDLEA is one of them. So what the court just said, look, we have the right to try you, irrespective of the fact that the Police Service Commission or the Nigerian Police Council are yet to come up with any report. The court cannot be waiting for the report of the police before they take you to court, because the NDLEA is also expected to do its own prosecution. And based on the evidence before it, it can go to court to challenge, to prosecute, the accused. It's a very important case that Nigerians are interested, and also the international community, because of the strategic position that he was occupying. Don't forget, other countries also asked for his extradition. So the authorities should know that it's not just Nigerians that are interested in this case. A lot of countries are also interested because of the, the implication of so many cases that he's involved, that has been linked up to him. So I hope they will not continue to use all these delay tactics. Let them take him to court. If he's claiming that he's not guilty, then the court will be able to decide, and in time, so that they don't delay the case to the extent that people will begin to doubt the process of justice.
In all of this, BKO, when you look at the struggles and the successes in Nigeria's war against drug trafficking, especially with this twist of involvement from even within the NDLEA and all its sister agencies, where do you see, the stage that we are in tackling drug trafficking?
We have made tremendous progress in the last 2 years. We have to admit that in Nigeria today, General Marwa has shown himself to be an hero and one of the best persons in public service currently. These guys in the NDLEA have made significant breakthroughs in the war against drug trafficking. We've seen them bust several drug barons, seized drugs worth in excess of, running to billions of naira. Drugs that they even attempted to bring into our country through the waterways. They seized. The last one seizure that they made somewhere in Ikorodu. They tried to bring it in through the waterways. They got information that syndicate was smashed and the drug was seized. We have made tremendous progress. And look, when we eventually defeat or bring drug trafficking under significant control, it will have a domino effect even on the crime wave in our country. Because a lot of the crimes that people commit, they commit under the influence of drugs. Boko Haram kills people, they behead people. It takes someone who is already mad to get a knife and say he's slashing someone's throat. It's drug use, drug abuse that leads people to do things like this. So if we can even block access to drugs, to these illicit drugs, those boys will find a way to come out of their forest on their own. And we are making gains. Almost 100,000 or so at the last count had been surrendered to Nigerian forces, because even access to these illicit drugs is being blocked. They are catching their couriers. These guys, in spite of the temptation to receive, to get paid big money, they are doing their work professionally. Not that they are paid hefty or extortionate salaries, the kind of salaries that our lawmakers are paid. But these guys, they love their country, and General Marwa has found a way to motivate them to serve the country in the way they are doing.